Welcome to Module 2.3, Safety in the Workplace. This will wrap up Module 2 today and really provide a great understanding of safety applications for you in the workplace. The first piece that we will talk about are safety data sheets. These are standardized sheets across the United States and across the globe actually, that allows people to understand safety materials, physical hazards, health hazards, and other effects that can occur by chemicals and materials that we utilize in the workplace and in our home as well as our school. Within your school, you will have SDS sheets, primarily probably in the maintenance department, as well as in any shops or labs that handle chemicals or materials, hazardous materials. Safety data sheets are a sheet or book required by OSHA. They have information on chemicals that are used in the building, chemical names, hazards, treatments, and information. They must be located in an open area where chemicals are being used. It may be interesting for you to either talk to your chemistry teacher or to your maintenance department to see actual SDS sheets that are tangible. However, we will provide you digital copies through this unit so you can see what they look like and really have a greater understanding of how to apply SDS sheets, as well as Assignment 3 relates directly to SDS sheets. One component that comes off of an SDS sheet is the Hazardous Identification System. You may have seen this if you followed a semi down the road and they were carrying hazardous materials. It talks about 4 basic components, and we'll go deeper into each of these. There are the health hazards, which are labeled by blue, and these colors do not change. There are the flammable hazards, the instability hazard, and the special hazard, which also sometimes is called protective equipment. We'll start with the blue Hazmat code. This is the health hazard. If it is labeled a 4 in the blue section of the triangle, there is a threat, or in the blue section of the shape, there's a threat. If it is a 3, there's a threat of a major injury. 2 is temporary or minor injury. And 1 means if you get that on your skin, you will have irritation. 0 means there's no significant risk or health hazard. The red correlates to flammable, which is how we think of flames and fire. The number represents the degree of seriousness. So you can read through 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. To gain a greater grasp of what that means when you're following a vehicle or when you see this attached to somewhere in the school or somewhere in a business. When you go to yellow, it talks about the yellow hazmat code, which is reactivity. The number represents the degree of seriousness. Again, you can read 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. This is what and then there's the Hazmat code, which is protective equipment. This is what the entire shape looks like with all of the colors. This is another look at the Hazmat number code system and what it could look like in a different situation. Let's move into hazardous material symbols. These are symbols that you will see on the side of products that will alert you. The nice thing about a symbol, it is translatable with any language because there are no words attached. So this is a symbol for flammable. There's a fire, which tends to make sense for flammable. Poisonous has a skull and crossbones, which is a symbol that we frequently associate with poisonous. Toxic materials has a T with a dot at the bottom. The T should be a symbolic reminder to you that the T is for toxic. The biohazard is represented by this shape. Compressed gas is actually a gas cylinder laying on its side. So again, compressed gas. Corrosive, slightly concerning to me that the corrosive drops are corroding into what I would assume to be steel as well as into the side of a hand, which I think is probably impossible, but it's a good visual for you. Radioactive, and this has been a symbol for radioactive since the beginning of the process of it. Explosive. You can see the center object exploding, which would remind you that that is an explosive symbol. Then there's HAZWOPER, the Hazardous Waste Operations and Emergency Response. Typically, most companies have someone who is HAZWOPER certified within their business. To earn a HAZWOPER credential, which may be something that you're interested in the future because it makes you an incredibly marketable employee, not only in manufacturing, but in almost every business. You complete an OSHA 40-hour coursework, pass the end of the tests from the course, and that allows you to provide hazardous waste cleanups or supervise the process. This is a little bit of history about the HAZWOPER and the rationale for why it started. HAZWOPER really started because of the Love Canal. If you're more interested in the Love Canal, you can Google that, and it has an incredible explanation of the 22 tons of over 200 chemicals that were dumped in a ditch from 1942 to 1953. Today, due to knowledge, training, and education, we understand that is not the way you dispose of toxic chemicals. But in 1942, the research and data did not align to the current practices that we have. However, some would argue common sense should tell you not to dump chemicals onto the land, which goes into our water system. So if you're more interested in the Love Canal and how that started HAZWOPER, feel free to research that. That is the end of this module for 2.3, so we'll move in and explain the assignment you're about to do. For 2.3, you're going to be assigned an SDS, and quite honestly, we've provided quite a few of them, so you select one. You're going to take 2 chemicals from the company that they manufacture. If you can't find those on those SDS sheets from their company, feel free to utilize 2 of the samples that we've provided in this folder, in this course. Find the SDS code, and you can read through the directions there. This will be your Unit 3 that you will do to learn about SDS, and then we'll follow with an end of module quiz on the next day of class. Good luck and enjoy learning about safety.